Okay, so the benefits of schizophrenia video didn't work that well. And there was a narcissistic comment in it because I think that my greatest line is Justin Trudeau's mother once said that the only woman who ever satisfied him was Jack Nicholson. Okay, I'm going to fess up to that one. I think that is a great line. That's the greatest line I heard all day. And I'm mucking with the. There's two. If you have an old cell phone and you buy a new cell phone, then the old cell phone is still connected to the internet. And so at this point, if I could figure out how to recharge the first phone, I could have three internet things. And what I could do is I could study three different languages on Duolingo. I could do one language in one language in another. I'd do Dutch, I think, or German. I want some Germanic thing in there. Yeah, so that's enough for the update. So, and there's another problem because there's another problem related to the previous problem because the previous problem was that if I try to tell these stories while I'm simultaneously having other adventures, then I'm not going to get rid of the old stock in time for the new stock, something like that. And so the thing is with the jokes, it's the same thing. If I'm not, because I'm stealing jokes from so many places now, that if I don't make these for about an hour a day, then the ones that I've got on my second cell phone will be piling up, and then there'll be no end to it. So with that means that we have to get started on the jokes. So okay, this is a good one. This is mine. If of course it was inevitable, it happened, didn't it? Now I've got a really bad joke about Hunter Biden. You don't want to hear that joke because it's absolutely horrific. In the beginning, I included snakes in my writing for the kind of emotions they would provoke. Later, they just kind of slithered in, and there was nothing I could do about it. Okay, Donald Trump did a poem called The Snake, and that was a fantastic poem, man. I can't see it, literally see it, but the gist of the thing is that a woman invites a snake into her house. She finds it's cold. He brings it in, and in the end, the snake bites her. And she's, why? Why I brought you in? It's a really beautiful poem. And he says, poor lady, you knew I was a snake when you brought me in. And people took that as, Trump's anti-immigration thing, which I suppose it did have that kind of sentiment. But what's curious about it is that song, I did it. It's not wasn't originally a poem, it was a song. Quite often you can't tell the difference. It's like the Bible was a lot like that, I think. They're just both. A lot of times they're just both. Right? And that was, okay, not only was it originally a song, but it was written by a black man. I find that astounding. Not that it was written by a black man, but the people could say, oh, you're anti-immigrant based on your repetition of that song that was made by a black man. Like, didn't anybody notice that? Honestly, I'm the only person I know that noticed that. And it was all just because I looked up the lyrics and went down to the guy who wrote it, and there's the black guy. How did I know he's black? He had a black name. I'm just kidding. I literally can't see the jokes here. Very well. Okay, here's one. Wow, that's remarkable. Yeah, I know. That's why I just remarked on it. Like, is that even funny? I don't know. Uh, oh, this is good. Dear God, it would be great if Justin Trudeau, having turned 50 in 2021, decided to quit politics. Why? And the answer is Socrates. So, at some point, you have to ask yourself with your jokes, okay, if nobody would get your joke, like literally nobody would get your joke, is it funny? Well, it'd be funny to the people that got the joke, but that'd be like one in a billion. Less than that, probably. I don't know. But the reason that it's funny is because Socrates had a conception of leadership that really wasn't democratic. And what he thought is that before you could become a politician, you had to spend 10 or 20 years on music, 5 or 10 on religion. You had to go out into the world as a nobody and survive. You had to be tested and et cetera, et cetera. And the training to become a politician would take 50 years. So if Justin Trudeau decides to quit politics at 50, that's exactly the age that Socrates said that you should quit politics. So to get that, like you could get that just sort of generally, I guess, if you knew about Socrates. But to understand that joke, you'd also have to be familiar with what an ass of himself Justin Trudeau often makes to get it. And if you didn't get those two things, you wouldn't fully get the joke. I think that humor is well, I think it's definitely the highest art form in terms of language because it can incorporate everything and because it cuts to the chase. That's what a good joke is for. It's for dispensing with the like what they call now political correctness on just getting straight to the point. And people say such interesting things about humor. So I've heard this for years. I thought, okay, so a good joke is one that says something that everybody knows but nobody's saying. So that's obvious. And those kinds of jokes are quite often really cruel. I'm not interested in cruel jokes. Not really. Well, not at all. Unless, not at all, I don't think. But I am interested in jokes that say what needs to be said. And what needs to be said in the current situation is there has to be some way to convince women and immigrants not to vote for Trudeau again, because this is getting really serious. You know, that has to be done, and if that involves making really cruel jokes about Justin Trudeau, well, I don't know. I would rather not. I feel sorry for him. And so the joke list is getting really long because I conclude just things that aren't really even jokes. Okay, like here's one. You can't pound any drum forever. I don't know where I found that. That's a great one. You can't pound any drum forever. And the thing about a joke too is that if it's okay, you can't pound any drum. So if somebody says you can't pound any drum forever, while they're in the process of pounding a drum forever, then it's a lot more funny, right? So, is water wet? No, it isn't. And that was one that could drive you to distraction. I remember just going berserk. This is another, I don't know, I just thought it was so insulting somehow. But water isn't wet. Oh, I like this one. I identify as neuroatypical. That's not bad. I stole that. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. And that was a song from the 60s. And how out of place that is now, eh? What the world needs now is love, sweet love. And it is what the world needs now. You got polarized communities for obvious reasons because the networks make money out of generating hostility. And you don't even hear anybody say, you know, you got to actually kind of try to love the other side. It's the only thing that'll work, really. And nobody's even suggesting it. Nobody is suggesting that. It's so far from anybody's mind. Which mainstream American media corporations take advertising dollars from Big Pharma? And the answer is all of them. So if it's that kind of joke, there's a certain sort of really simplistic pattern there, I think. It's just to give an obvious answer to a question. And for what? Okay, the reason that an obvious answer to a question is funny is because you don't expect the obvious answer. That's why it is. Anything unexpected, things that are unexpected tend to be funny. So I think that, well, it works. But there's a, okay, just the thing is, you can't, if you keep doing that, then it's no longer surprising, it's no longer funny. That's the thing. Okay, what is the opposite of paranoia? The delusion that you're following someone. Now that is a brilliant joke. That's a great joke. Okay, there is a problem here because I'm not keeping track of where I found these jokes. So I'm not attributing them to anybody. Nobody does that, but that's a great joke. Oh, and here's the other one. This is the final joke. Another stolen gem. Oh, I can't remember it. It's a why did the chicken cross the road joke. Okay, forget that one. Okay, so here's a how many of the insurrectionists brought a gun to the insurrection? The idea is they're gonna take over the American government. It's an insurrection. So how many of them brought guns to the insurrection? None. And not a one. One of them was shot by a cop. That's it. I think a couple had heart attacks or something related to it. And I think they're going to have like a Memorial Day, January 6th Memorial Day. You know, it would used to be 3,000 dead at, you know, in this battle or that battle, or 50,000 here. And in this case, nobody died, nobody brought a gun. And you got media people that are still talking about how stressed they are from that day. That kind of thing. The only thing special about that was where it happened. That kind of riot happens all the time. All the time. It was celebrated. BLM celebrated all that kind of stuff. Okay, so another political one. How many of the people who did instigate violence on January 6th were working with the FBI? In other words, how many did the FBI plant there? I think it's all of them. I think all of the ones that promoted violence on that day did it because the FBI paid them to. Sorry, that's not funny, but I'm really pretty sure that's true.